I could get your team news first of all, how are things looking compared to what you had available on Monday?
No, the same. No changes. Obviously, it was first game of the season, and still a lot of lads really getting up to speed fitness-wise, which I said after the game. I think a lot of clubs are in that position, but just a bit of fatigue, nothing else, fortunately, from the game.
Oliver Skipp, will he be available for you, and could we see him coming into the starting lineup?
Well, he's definitely available, that's for sure, and it's great that he's here, and obviously we're looking to add some more players as well. Hopefully sooner rather than later, and yeah, if you bring players in, you want them to be pushing for places, and you want to up the competition, and we have a brilliant spirit here and a very good training ethic, and challenge will be embraced by the guys for starting positions, etc. So yeah, everybody that's fit and available will be ready for selection if required.
What does he add to your team?
Well, I think he's a good young player. He's got quite a lot of games under his belt now in the Premier League. I think now we have a nice variety and balance of midfield options. Obviously, the Premier League demands everything of you, and sometimes a lot of different things, even in one game. So it's always important to have the right strength and depth, in what's needed from game to game, and I believe that Skippy offers us, another real calming influence in midfield that can support our game well, and we look forward to integrating him into the system. And like I said, we have a nice balance in midfield now, and it allows us to pick the right players for the right game plans, which is what we want.
Jamie Vardy stopped the headlines on Monday.
Yeah.
He talked afterwards about how much he puts into his recovery. Can you rely on having him week in, week out this season, and how important will it be to try and keep him fit?
Well, it's definitely important to keep all of our players fit, but Jamie doesn't need any sort of special words from me about his capabilities and the impact he can have, and the talent he has, obviously, in and around the box will something that will never leave him. So, in terms of keeping him available and keeping him fresh for games is going to be important. He's obviously an older player now with his age. I think that's a fact, and of course, as players get older, they understand their bodies well, and they know what's needed to prepare for games. I think what's important is that we work with him collaboratively to make sure that we do what's right by him in terms of getting him ready for games. I mean, what's good about him is that my experience of him is that he's really enjoys the games. He really enjoys what it takes to get ready for a game, and we have to respect that. So he's got a good understanding now of how I work and how we work, and what's required from us. And we're obviously getting to know all of the players now, and especially him in what they require to be ready for games as well. And that, to be fair, that's just coaching, that's just preparation, that's just knowing what players sort of need more than what they want. So that'll be the case for him. It is a little bit different with him because of the pre-season that he's had as well. But he's a game player, and he's a match day guy, isn't he? And we need to do our very best to keep him as ready as he can be for them days.
You've been linked to
everybody.
Yeah, the list is too long.
Yeah, too long to talk about. So there's no names to really mention. I bet standard answer from every manager around the country of every league. When we have definite news, then we'll let you know. But there isn't. We're trying. We want to strengthen the squad. I repeat, guys are in a great place. Did an amazing job last year. Very much want to keep lots of that going. But keeping it going is about adding and strengthening as well. And we're just still in that process with a week to go.
One name I will mention, said to be in negotiations with Jordan Ayew. is it essential you add to your forward line given Patson Daka's
Yeah,
injury?
it's definitely an area, Kirsty, that we area of the pitch that we'd like to. The question you asked about the midfielders is I want to be in that situation with every part of the pitch, and with what we have in the moment, and obviously some injuries. It's an area, one of the areas that we'd like to strengthen, and I think every area that we'd like to strengthen might not be done in this window, because that's not always the case. But top end of the pitch, because of what you said with injuries, etc., and player availability, I think is something that we're looking at for sure.
Finally, for me, your thoughts on Fulham? What did you make of their opening day performance against?
Yeah, they played well.
Manchester United?
Yeah, I mean, Marco's obviously been there good few years now, and has built a really good way and a good team, and obviously they're the same as us, trying to add players, and have added players recently, and we need to be ready for that. But yeah, obviously a really well coached team and full of players that can make a difference. But I think what we learned from the other night more than anything else is about if we don't do what we can do, then the opponent it ends up being irrelevant, because this is the Premier League. So every game that we play, we could talk about the opponent and say where the strengths are and how good they are and all that sort of stuff. But it was a great reminder the other day against Spurs that if we don't look after ourselves, then you're not able to look after anything else. So that's really where our focus is.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Kirsty. Thank you.
Thanks, Kirsty. It's Ivan from Premier Production.
Hi, Evan. How are you?
Hi, Steve. Good to see you again.
You too, mate.
You all right?
Yeah.
So you must have learned a lot from that opening game. What were your takeaways, especially perhaps the first 45 minutes that you can take into Fulham?
Definitely, yeah. So there were a lot of learning. There always is a lot of learnings from the game, but I think you always got to bear in mind the context as well of a game, and with it being the first game back in the Premier League, and so like I said, post game there was some players making Premier League debuts and club debuts, and all of that can add to context to a team. Maybe a little bit of that showed in the first half, as well as playing against a really good team and maybe allowing them a little bit too much of the ball and too much respect, and so we just needed to be a lot braver in the second half, and that's on all of us, myself, the players. We're very much going to be the collective this year. And we just played with some good ambition and good intent in the second half. So the learnings from it is very much about what I just said to Kirsty: is look after yourself first and back yourself, believe in yourself, and do what you can do in terms of strengths, and then that will always be the main influence on our game is played out. I think a lot of belief will be taken from the second half, a lot of confidence, and we're really excited now about playing again. There's been a really good vibe here, really good spirits, and there has been all pre-season, but especially since getting that first game out of the way, and a fairly positive result. It's not, we want to be winning at home, of course, when we win in every game, but especially at home. But being a fairly positive result against the teams, talking about being at the top end of the league, then there's a lot of good to be taken out of it. But as I said post-match as well, is we've also got to be not narrow-minded enough to make sure that we learn from the first half as well. And there's been more talk about that really than the second half in the game review and the players' opinion as well. So lots to reflect on, lots to learn from, lots to be encouraged by, and also you learn from the things that you didn't do well as well. And that's very much been the process, and is the process of how we get better and improve, because we really want to become a team now that can compete successfully week in, week out.
Prior to games, we read a lot of stats about teams' performance historically against Team A, against Team B. For you, it's Fulham this weekend, but maybe more relevant sometimes is how a coach perhaps is set up historically against another coach, because you carry that with you team to team, I guess.
No,
you might evolve.
Not really.
What's your experience against Marco Silva been, and does that have an impact?
No, I understand the question, but I think I think part of coaching is recognising what you inherit sometimes, and the 3 jobs I've done at senior level have been very different, and I think you have to definitely implement your own ideas and stick to what you believe in and what you think is right. But I also think you have to take into account of what's already here and what's already good, and try and sort of bring it all together in a way that's a mixture of sort of not breaking what might be good while implementing what's needed for the challenge ahead, but in a way that you believe in as well. And you know, my ego hopefully isn't too big that I put myself before the club well, it isn't bigger than the club objectives and the greater good of the club. That's always the most important thing. I'm not about my own brand. I'm not about my own success. I'm about the club's success that I work for. That's just the way I am. I'm not saying that a different way is wrong. I'm just saying that's where I am with it. And for me, it's about what's right for Leicester City this year in succeeding in achieving the objectives that we've set ourselves. Of course, that will be hopefully influenced by what I want and what I believe in, but it's also carrying on some good things that are really happening as well with the guys that are here.
And I just wonder though, on that, does Marco Silva similarly, from what you can see, have a style that maybe you are aware of that you can use?
Definitely aware of, yeah, and that's normal when you prepare for a game. The amount of detail that you can go into now is everything's available, you know, from observation, from past experiences, from data. You know, you can bring as much as you want now into a table in analysing an opponent, putting a game plan together. And of course, all of them things happens, but especially at Premier League, because resources are there to be able to do that. But I go back to, if you don't look after yourselves and you don't implement in our way, our style, our intentions, whoever we're playing against, then you know, I don't think the game goes as you want it to go anyway. And that's really where our focus is. It's about really sort of becoming really good at what we want to be and how we want to go about it. And that's really where our focus is. We'll respect every opponent. Tough game on the weekend, of course, Premier League football. But if we don't go there with the ambition of this is how we play, then I think you give yourselves more of a chance of coming up short than succeeding.
You had a very well documented rapport with the supporters at Forest. I'm guessing you'll want to build a unique rapport now here at Leicester. How's that going, and will you carry that with you and build on that this weekend?
Well, you're probably asking the wrong guy how that's going. What I do know is I'm very much a guy that lives in the moment and looks forward. And once you commit to being part of something, then you know you have to give everything to it, and that's what I intend to do. Otherwise, you know, don't accept to be part of something. So I'll just be myself. I'll be who I am. Like I said, for me, the greater good and the bigger purpose of the club that I work for is always the most important thing, and I just want to do my very best to succeed, or for the club to succeed while I'm here, and that's what I'm 100% committed to.
Brilliant, thank you.
Thank you, Ivan. Thank you.
Good to know you from BBC Radio Leicester.
Right on.
Hi, Steve. How are you doing? Okay.
Yeah, good, mate. You?
Just going back to the transfer situation, and you said a moment ago that the club are trying to bring players in. How close are you to making that a reality at the moment?
Do you know what? You could have asked me that question every day probably since I've been here, and I could give you the same answer. So, I think close, but we've been very close, been closer before, even as we feel today. So we're really, really keen on getting some deals over the line. We're working hard, and like I said, if that happens, then great. But what I would say as well, if it doesn't happen, then we've got maximum belief and commitment to giving these guys everything as well, and that's really important. So if we can add some more players, then really, really good. If we don't, I think we will. But if we don't, then we'll absolutely be getting on with it and committing to reaching our objectives of this season. And we've got another week or so left, and let's see where it takes us. But whatever the situation is, come the close of the window, everybody will continue to be fully committed as I said, anybody that comes in will be adding to a fantastic spirit, a group of players that very much want to succeed this year. Really enjoy being at the football club, and the staff of the same thought as well. So for me, it's all beneficial whatever happens.
We've spoken before about individual positions. I know you said it maybe wasn't necessarily about that, but more about the profile of attacking player that you want to bring in. I wonder what that actually looks like, the kind of profile of player that you think you need at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think I'd rather sort of talk about that when deals are actually done, because if I say this is what we're after and it happens, then great. If it doesn't, then I don't want it to be seen as a negative, because as I said to you, we will give everything to the guys that, and we are giving everything to the guys that are here, but more importantly, the guys are giving everything to pushing each other as teammates, getting ready for the next game, training yesterday, for example, or the days after the Spurs game, the training ethic and the spirit was brilliant, and the level was brilliant as well. So we saw a group of hungry players the other day on the pitch. You saw lads come off the bench and give everything. But equally important to me is the guys that weren't involved. The training in the days after it was at the top level, and that's always a good sign.
Jamie Vardy, as you talked about already, is clearly what he did on Monday night was admirable, and I just have to wonder whether you do have to be careful with him at any point, or whether actually at this stage you don't maybe have that choice because of your limited options in terms of strikers.
Probably all of them things, but as I said to Kirsty in the outset, it's just about working together. You know, there's so much so much work that goes in now into daily operation of a player, if you like, from obviously the football side of it, with the technical and tactical side, but also the physical and medical, and the data that's recorded every day. You really do get a good sense of a player's capabilities and a player's condition. And then with somebody like Jamie, because he understands his body and knows what it takes to be ready for a game, you have to listen to his opinion and his views as well, and that's very much what we're trying to do. But sometimes with an older player, you can talk about age, you can talk about maybe capabilities that not what they were at a younger age. But we're really positive about Jamie's capabilities, and I don't mean the obvious about his goal scoring and what he's been amazing at over his career. We're talking about like how fit he looks, how healthy he looks, how sharp he looks in training, and we're with his situation, if you like, of still going at his age, we're glass half full with it for sure.
Looking ahead to Fulham this weekend, tactically, how do you view Marco Silva and the elements that you have to be wary of with his Fulham side? Well,
as I said to Ivan, always a well set up team and a clear way of playing, and that is obvious when you look at a Fulham team over the last few years. So we've definitely gone up against a team that's been, most of it has been together a while, and they have good continuity and good connection. I know there's been some ins and outs like is normal, but the core of the team is still there. So we'll be aware of that, and we'll respect that a lot. But as I said on numerous occasions, we are really just focusing on ourselves. We're focusing on implementing our way in the Premier League again, and making sure that we establish ourselves quickly back here, and hope that every game we play, what we do has the biggest impact on how a game is played out, and obviously the result at the end. So that is where we are.
So with that in mind, how important, I guess, is it to continue the fight and the hunger and everything, the quality that you showed in the second half, yeah, from the start this weekend? Yeah,
and also I think to show absolutely, we need to show that, but we also need to show how, when the first half wasn't as we wanted it to be, we were able to change things and been able to not accept that, okay, this is how it is today. No, we need to put things right and do better. And that's important as well, because you could go down as we did the other night. You can be second best, and you can have some bad luck. You can have a bad referee's decision, and you've got to be seen to be bouncing back even in games. And then when you do, and you show all of them things that you just said, then you saw the atmosphere in the stadium, you saw the motivation in the team, you saw the togetherness, and we, as one on and off the pitch, became a really good unit. And that can end up being a really positive thing in terms of getting a good outcome in a game, and we've got to try and recreate that as much as we can.
Steve, thank you very much.
You
Best
too.
of luck this weekend.
Thanks, mate. You too.
We'll finish this broadcast session with Phil from RTV Central.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Phil.
TV Central. Couple of questions. You mentioned that you've heavily strengthened the midfield and you're quite pleased with how the players you brought in on that. Is it always the forwards that are the ones that are tricky to nail down as you approach transfer? Look, they're the ones that are the hardest to pin down and commit.
I would say so, yeah. In terms of how it's actually played out so far, I think I said after the Spurs game that we've been very clear about what we feel would be good to add to the squad, but there's not been any particular order in that being able to happen. Like I said, I think the week before, I was close to being convinced that we were adding 2 attacking players, and then they just didn't play out as we thought right at the end, and not through any fault of anybody or wherever. It's just the way it went. So that would have been a different order of positions of players coming in than maybe what it might be now. But we just have to take it as it comes.
On a slightly different tack, I want to talk about Sven-Göran Eriksson, who was a manager here.
Of course, yeah.
A year ago back in the day, and sadly, as you're probably aware, he's been diagnosed with terminal
Yeah,
cancer
I'm aware of that, yeah.
I just wondered if you had any thoughts about him, because he's doing a documentary talking about maybe saying a sort of farewell to people.
Yeah.
And also, whether you met him, come across him, any thoughts about?
No, I've not met him. Obviously, first of all, on behalf of the current sort of players and management, we send our best wishes and our love and support to him. Obviously, sad news of what you just said with his illness, and we really hope that, I'm sure he's fighting as much as he can. But no, obviously I've never met him, but I'm fully aware of that he was a manager here. I'm fully aware of his coaching career. I spent time at the FA as well, and came across the staff members and players that might have played with him, and you only tend to hear positive things, particularly as he was as a guy. Here's some really nice stories about how he dealt with people and how he was. Obviously, the coaching career will speak for itself, and you don't get to the level he did and do the jobs that he did without being a top coach. And I personally will always have respect for that, because I've had a small experience now how tough it is to work or within a top league like the Premier League. So huge amount of professional respect to him, and wishing him well in his fight against his illness.